two very, very special guests here today, Erie in Japan, Fallon in Houston. Good afternoon to you both. Erie, Fallon, how are you guys?
Doing good. Hi, Ken.
Hey.
What's going
Doing
on?
very well. Yeah, so well to see you guys. Fallon was like, I'm not doing the show without Erie, vice versa. So I'm like, I have to get both of you guys together some way, somehow. We made it work, and here we are
You got 2 for 1.
for sure. How did that come about working for Nike?
It was, Nike now, what, 8 years or something? But I came to Japan now almost 10 years ago, actually over 10 years ago. It was for a completely different job. I was in advertising and I was starting up a new office in Japan with a different agency. And then a few years into it, we had worked closely with the Nike account through a different advertising agency, and the account was under pitch. They needed a little bit of help, and then I jumped on board to just help out with the pitch. The agency lost the account, but then Nike had called me up and they asked if I wanted to potentially join for an opportunity. And the Olympics are right around the corner, the forgotten 2020 COVID
Yeah,
Olympics.
no one
But I
talks
ended
about
up at Nike. Yeah. I was going to work on the Olympics and then go back to New York, hopefully. But then COVID happened, and then I've been in Japan ever since. So Nike here, Nike today, 8 years in.
awesome.
Oh man. Well, yeah, I mean, I've been able to work for a lot of cool companies. Always in skincare, skin and beauty industry, I guess, kind of fell into it. Cheesecake actually was the reason why I got that job at L'Oreal to begin with. The hiring manager had somebody, his wife also worked at Cheesecake Factory, so that was my in, and then kind of stayed in the industry my whole career. But yeah, it's been pretty cool. Got to launch about a bunch of products. You walk into a Sephora or an Ulta, you are probably looking at some products that I helped bring to life, which is pretty amazing. And now
Yeah.
I'm just helping consulting with anybody and everybody who needs process or, wants some global product marketing help. What products to make in the world and in their portfolio. So it's been a cool ride, like being able to help with different types of products. I'm working for a brand now that's like heavy in body care and fragrance. So a little bit different, but still, very cool, very much in the Sephora world.
That's amazing. Amazing. Happy for you both. We all met at the Cheesecake Factory. Eri, what was life like before CCF? Where'd you grow up? Brother, sister? Who was the prankster in the
Yeah.
family?
I was the nice one in the family, quiet and so grew up in Congers, all my
Okay.
life, Congers, New York, Clarkstown North. I know there was a bunch of Clarkstown South folks that worked at Cheesecake Factory, but I have an older brother. My parents are still in New York. My brother and his family are in California. We're spread out all over. Kind of grew up playing sports. My mom's Japanese, if people don't know, so was always going to Japanese school. I was doing a lot of educational things because my mother
Brilliant.
really pushed education as an Asian woman. And then played volleyball. I also actually, Fallon and I probably knew each other from Coupe Dance School, from ballet from years and years ago. So we've
For
crossed paths
cheesecake.
when we were younger, before
Hmm.
Cheesecake Factory.
Wow. So you guys go way back. I had no idea this was even a thing. I thought you guys met at CCF. Amazing. Um,
It was a reunited, and then there was a couple of people who used to go through kind of coupe dance schools in Nanuet. So I think a few of us kind of went there. So that was quite funny to meet up at the
yeah.
Cheesecake Factory years later.
Yeah. North and South. You guys hate each other, right? Why is that? The high school back in the day. Is that a thing?
I think it is the thing to say. I mean, to be quite honest, I really wasn't in the high school scene. I was playing volleyball. I was working at the Cheesecake Factory. Yeah, there was a rivalry, but I really
Yeah. Didn't pay
didn't
much attention
really
to it.
involve myself there.
Yeah. There you go. Fallon, what was life like for you before CCF?
Um, I mean, between me and my brother's 4 years older. I would say
Okay.
he was probably the we'll call it prankster. We'll use that word instead of the other word. No, I was like the quiet, like studious one too. I was also very much like I was a dancer. So if I wasn't at school, I was at Coupe. I like one point was doing like classes, I think either 3 to 5 days a week, including Saturdays. Like that was my like after school activity was dance, and I just loved every second of it. Um, yeah, I mean, my dad is now in Florida. My brother's in Florida. I still my aunt, and my uncle are still um, in New City. They are looking to move to Florida. I feel like that's the big Rockland migration
That's the
is they
thing.
moved
Yeah,
eventually to
we all
somewhere to
go there.
Florida.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like, I mean, growing up, it was a pretty typical childhood. Sloatsburg Elementary, and then Suffern High School. So I did not partake in the Clarkstown North South rivalry, but I think Suffern also versus Clarkstown was a pretty big
Pretty
thing.
big
But
thing.
I mean, like, I went to summer camp. I knew a lot of people that were at North, South, Nanuet. So from like a young age, I had kind of friends all throughout Rockland County. So it kind of felt natural, like once we got to the Cheesecake Factory, that I had people that were outside of like the Suffern area. We also moved to Nanuet, like Nanuet New City in college. So by the time I got to Cheesecake, I think I was in Suffern for a little bit and then was in like Nanuet.
Ari, when's the last time you picked up a volleyball? Could you spike? You still got some moves? How good are you?
I wanted to so I also was big into dance until I kind of came across volleyball and then I switched to volleyball. Thought it was pretty good, you know. I went to a university where the team was absolutely horrible, so I kind of gave up there.
You were probably the
But
best player.
no, no, that would be unfair to say for the team of
Okay.
athletes who were on that team. But I picked it back up after I started working in New York again, and I found some pickup volleyball around, and then I joined an actual pretty big like women's league, and we were traveling all over the place to play volleyball as well. So I was very serious about it. I'd say I'm pretty good. But the last time I picked up a volleyball, I mean, it's just so hard now in Japan. There's no place to play. There's no gymnasiums that you could just like go up and pick things up in. And like I don't know. It, I don't meetup.com. I don't even know if that even exists anymore, but I like how do you find friends now who want to play sport when you're like 40
Yeah,
years old? It's tough.
yeah. Hey, Nike, build a volleyball court or something for Ari, please.
Pushing for it, but we're not there yet.
Fallon, what say you? You still got some dance moves? How good are you? You still got it? Lost it? Never lost it? Still got it?
I mean, I think you never truly lose it, especially if like I mean, I would do like bar classes and Pilates and things like that. So you still have like the flexibility a little bit. I mean, there are some times where I catch myself like I think yesterday I was literally in like first and like doing some dance moves in the kitchen. Um, but yeah, like when you start to get above 40 and you're like, ooh, that doesn't feel right. You're like you got like celery knees when you stand up. And so you gotta be careful what you do. Like throw a back or a hip out soon. So
Yeah, everything hurts, right? Everything
yes.
hurts. It's crazy.
Yeah.
What's the first word spoken in Japanese, Ari?
Actually, so when I was younger, my mom she was a stay-at-home mom until I went to elementary school. So I felt like I was speaking more Japanese than English. And so I grew up very much like early years. Even my mom took me to Japan for an extended period of time when I was a baby. Don't remember any of this. I what I do remember was that I had a really strange accent, like an English accent.
Okay.
I couldn't say things correctly. Like I was saying like daddy. Like I don't even who knows? I can't even pronounce
Yeah.
water properly, but they wanted to put me into ESL when I was in kindergarten.
English
Because
speaking
I couldn't
language.
speak
Yeah.
English properly. But
Yeah.
apparently I passed the color test, so they allowed me to be in the regular class. But no, I grew up speaking Japanese. I think I had to learn a lot of English, so it feels very natural to me, which is a good thing because I think it's extremely hard to try to navigate two languages. But no,
Yeah.
it's me. I was very lucky, very lucky. Top 5 words.
Yeah.
This is a tough one. What do we want?
Um,
So
anything
let's
funny or interesting or just a food or just anything particular?
but it's so funny, right? Because when you're like, "Oh, sushi," everyone's like, "Oh, sushi," or you're like,
Yeah.
"Konnichiwa," arigatou
Yeah.
gozaimasu, that's always a thank you. Konnichiwa, hello. Oyasumi nasai, good night. お疲れ様です. which is something that if you're in the office in Japan, you always say "otsukaresama desu" to anyone that you see.
Okay.
And the favorite word, "daijoubu." Daijoubu. Everything's gonna be okay. All good. It's
Everything's gonna be
daijoubu is
okay.
like a word that you could just throw around all the time. When someone's like, "How are you?" You're like, "daijoubu." Do you need any help? Daijoubu. So
Oh,
there you go. Just a
Amazing,
few
Fallon.
words.
How's
well,
your
I just
Japanese,
got
Fallon?
do you remember that I
Yes.
realized Ari was Japanese? I don't
Yeah.
remember where we were anymore, but she was on the phone talking to her mom, and you only speak to your mom in Japanese, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I like looked and I heard not English, and it must have been like Erica or somebody I was with for Laura Koch, and I looked, I'm like, What is Ari
What is
speaking
happening?
a different language right now?" And we were like, "You're Japanese. What are you doing?" And she's like, "I'm just talking to my mom in Japanese." And we're like, "You're Japanese?" It
Yeah.
was like, I mean, didn't think anything of it. And then I was like, that's I think one of my favorite stories. The time I found out Ari was Japanese was
Yeah.
speaking to her mom on the phone,
It's
just on like a
crazy.
random day. It wasn't anything special, but
Yeah.
We might have all been in a car together because I do remember Erica and Koch being there as well. And I
we
remember
were in
all of your
cars a lot
faces.
together.
We
That
were.
first, yeah.
That's amazing.
I feel like people think I'm Canadian because at least that was the thing when I was growing up. They're like, "Oh, you don't really look American." I definitely don't look Asian. Maybe I'm starting to look a little bit more Asian now because I've just been in Japan for so long.
Yeah.
But now they're like, "Oh, are you Canadian?" I'm like, "No, I'm half Asian." But I do get a lot of weird looks. It's very helpful in Japan as well. I have a lot of who love to be my friend and they love to talk to me, and I have really fun conversations with taxi drivers, Uber drivers, because they're all shocked.
Yeah.
But no, it's I'm like I feel like I look more Japanese now than I did, but I guess not.
Yeah.
I feel like in Tokyo not as there's more English than before, but I still feel like Japan has a lot of work to do in terms of just like using English more often. I mean, it's such an island nation and it really
Yeah.
sticks. Like people don't, if you compare to China or Korea, some of the other Southeast Asian countries, I just say English is not as versatile in its usage here.
Having international partners that we would obviously always have English conversations. And I know, like in the office, like local market, you would be speaking your local language. But I wonder if like is Nike, do they have those international relationships? Like, do you speak English at work or are you mostly speaking Japanese?
So it depends on kind of the role, but I'd say overall, I was really pleasantly surprised how diverse the Nike Japan office is. Almost everybody can speak English, like a good level of English. There's a few who obviously maybe if they're in sales or if they're working very internally, they don't need to. But Nike also does a really good job of having interpreter, like we have in-house interpreters as well. So you could always just get people to come in and sit in all the meetings and transcribe or translate for you. And I'd say maybe 50-50 usage of Japanese and English. But if I wanted to speak English all the time, my team would be completely okay with it as well. So I'm very fortunate. I don't know if I'd do really well at a company that only spoke Japanese full time.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah.
Very cool.
No, I'm scared. You're gonna ask me to say some words here. And a little bit of French and just
Okay.
gibberish after a few drinks. That's it.
Fallon, CCF, who hired you? How did working there come about?
Yeah. I this is fun and probably gonna get a little emotional. My
Mm.
my mom had always loved the Cheesecake Factory. She would go to maybe the one in Westchester. Was that one open before the one in Rockland, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
With
Cheesecake Nyack opened up in '03. White Plains opened up in September following that year. Same year, but like
okay. So
months later.
she
Yeah.
went to a Cheesecake Factory
Okay.
somewhere with friends of hers, and they like it was the place that they would like meet and have lunch and like have a good time. So when she found out that one was opening in our mall, she was like, "You should go." I'm like, "What do I want a summer job for?" But we ended up, it was actually my dad and I, like core memory, right? Like my dad and I going to the Palisades Mall actually for a Mother's Day gift for her. And they were taking applications. And I remember like, cause I was literally in like flip flops and like a tank top. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
so inappropriate to be going in and like interviewing for a job.
Yeah.
And the restaurant wasn't open yet. So like the opening team was there. And I don't remember his last name, but his first name was Kurt. I'll never forget. Was like hiring. I had no experience doing anything. It was like I was coming out of my freshman year of college, and he's like, "Well, you can work at the bakery." And I was like, "Well, why can't I work at the front desk?" I wasn't cool enough. I don't know.
Yeah.
But so I went, was like, that's fine. And like, that's how it came to be. And I remember like sitting in what's now the Apple store, maybe. I don't know. I haven't been there in a while. As like the training, like wasn't actually a store yet. And like doing the training there and like learning about cheesecakes and how to plate and make whipped cream. Then all of a sudden I was like, this is pretty fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
That I spent 2 or 3, different stints there doing different
Yeah.
things. But yeah,
You guys were like machines back there. Um, Eri, what say you? Who hired you at CCF? How did that come about?
It was a pretty casual process, if I remember this. I remember walking into the Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah.
I think maybe I was leaving for dinner with like some friends. And then I th- I think it was Mike Ritchie who like chased after me, and he was like, "Hey, would you want to work here?" And I was like, "What do I need to do?" And then he like went to the bakery and just got it was like this one paper, and he's like, "All right, fill out your information." And I was like, "Okay." And
Yeah.
then I think he called Paul over, and Paul was like, "Great, front desk, great." And it was like, "When can you start?" And I was like, "What's happening?" And then I think I started like 2 days later, but I was kinda looking for a job because wanted to make some money, and then everyone like, everyone was working at either Abercrombie or Hollister. I think BCBG was also a popular spot that everyone was picking up jobs, and then I saw that no one from my high school was working at the Cheesecake Factory at that point yet. So I was like, okay, I could work here. And so I took the job. But I think it was Mike and Paul. And then I think Juan was there. The
Yeah.
characters who
that
were
OG crew.
OG crew.
So, Eri, you were at the front desk. Fallon was baker. And you guys met up, right? How was that?
Oh, no. That's not how it happened.
Yeah.
Let us tell you how I actually went, this girl right here. Do you want to tell that story, Ari?
No, you go ahead.
I'll probably exaggerate a little bit, but the green tickets and white tickets. It was a white ticket, wasn't it? I don't remember. It was a green ticket. No, it was a green ticket because I was super annoyed.
Eri's got a
It's
stack of
like
green tickets somewhere. I'm just kidding.
it's some night, and like when we first opened, that restaurant was busy. It was like what 2 hour waits or more, and
Yeah.
people were waiting. Wild.
Yeah.
It's like towards the end of the night. I'm sure it was me and Ashley like getting slammed in the bakery. By the way, like whenever a manager would come, you'd be like, please don't come in and help us. Like just let us
Yeah.
do it. I like appreciated it, but just we'll get out of it. Especially like when you got self-proclaimed dream team back there. Like we would
Yeah.
just get it done. But then all of a sudden, this one comes up and is like, can you make me okay, Miss Erica comes over, hands, I think, like a stack of green tickets for everybody at the
Oh,
front desk because
gosh.
they work so hard. Because I'm covered in strawberry sauce, whipped cream, hot fudge, sweating, and they just
Yeah.
look cute all the time. Like it wasn't fair. I wear a hat all the time. She comes over with this stack, and it's like the ice cream, it's fudge ice cream sandwiches, the strawberry shortcake. It's all of those ice cream desserts that like it's not putting a piece of cheesecake on a plate, and it's not like putting something to go. It's like I gotta scoop out 3 scoops of ice cream that's so hard in
Yeah.
those old, I don't even know if they make that like brownie sundae anymore. The 2 like
No.
brownies that I gotta cut from the tray, it up,
Man.
whipped
Yeah.
cream, like it took a minute to do.
Yeah.
And
Of
it's
course.
a stack of green tickets of all of those. And I remember looking like, absolutely not. There's no way in hell that I'm making these for these girls right now. And I like
Yeah.
remember them. Who do you think you are that you could ask me to make this for you? I'm drowning over here and there's nobody left at the front desk. But that's how we became friends.
To add on to that, I think, well, yes, a few of us were quite spoiled by the riches of the green tickets that were being passed out. But it was a really tough shift trying to get those 4-hour waits of those people. Greeting and seating and the bathroom checks were, pretty wild. At least for us at the front desk. I remember specifically, Erica had that curfew that she used to leverage as
remind everybody that she
had to be out by 9:00 because she was the youngest one, and she had to go home and study, of course.
That Erica Pomerantz, huh? Oof.
We love her. And I remember she went to Mike Ritchie and was like, I demand I demand dessert, but I also need them before I leave. And I remember Erica and Mike both went up to the bakery. And I distinctly remember Fallon and Mike, like Fallon reaming into Mike, being like, you cannot do this. It's not fair. And Mike was like, I don't know what to do. And Erica's like, I need my dessert by 9:00. I have to get out of here.
I did yell at quite a few managers. Yeah.
I think that was very unfortunate that we abused the privileges that were given to us. But we did become friends, probably because our good old friend Jimmy Stiles and a bunch of us were at the Hody on like a Tuesday night. And I remember another favorite of ours, Patrice, came in, and Patrice was like, you and those green tickets, do you understand what we have to do here to the bakery all the time? And then we all came to like a come to Jesus moment where we're like, we're all just stressed. I think we should all hang out together. And then we
went to Six Flags.
Planned a trip to the Six Flags, great adventure that day, because Jimmy was like, you know what, you guys should all just take a day off and hang out together. So and then it was friendship from there. Connected.
That was a good crew that went to that Six Flags that day. There was like 7 or 8 of us.
There was.
Wow.
Ashley was also a part of that trip.
Ashley was there. Patrice came. Laura Koch, Erica.
Wow.
Taryn and Gracie. Right?
Yeah, and Gracie.
Where did time go, right? I mean, this is Fallon. You went from baking to serving. Did you miss baking at all? Any crazy bakery stories you got for us today?
So I saw a video literally last night, and it was a video of a girl sitting in a movie theater and was like, when they check the seats, and I'm knee deep in the Linda's fudge cake, and I turn and I go, when I get a kidney man, that's what I want to eat. I want to eat a Linda's fudge cake. And I used to, I don't know if I should say it, I'll say it anyway. Like, you had to cut it, and there was it was like 3 fingers, and it had to be like a
certain way. Yeah.
Yeah. And, maybe I cut one a little too big so that the next one would be a little too small. So maybe I couldn't sell it. And no, it has to come home with me. That's so unfortunate. And so that would happen. Definitely would cut some of those, bigger cakes a little uneven so you could get a little bit at the end. I was guilty of pulling some of the Snickers off of the top of the Snickers as it was going into the cooler. Before it made it to the floor. So yes, I definitely took some, cheesecake tax, right? Like it's a little bit of a labor tax. You want me to bring it from the freezer to the thaw cooler? I gotta, make sure that it's good for the guests. There was definitely a few cheesecakes that we were like, oh, that just doesn't look like it's good enough to sell. Let me just put it off to the side and I'll have it for lunch. Maybe.
There you go.
Yeah.
No, I think they got sick of us in the front because we were getting a little spoiled, and so they're like, I'd go. And I also
You're probably making too much at some point. You were probably making too much money hourly. Actually, on the floor.
No, exactly. That is what happened. You're right. There was a movement of everyone was making too much hourly, and so go pay your dues and become a server. And so I went straight into serving, probably after maybe a year after being at the front desk.
Okay.
But no, serving was fun. I mean, it was crazy, but I will give props to the the onboarding for the servers. I think, rarely now do you get to maybe go in depth into every single recipe that was there. Like you understood how all the food was made, you were tested on it. So I will say that was pretty advanced for kind of training just part-time staff, right? So
Yeah,
that
Mhm.
was serving kind
that's
of
pretty
changed
cool.
everything. Started making a lot more money. I mean, the money was good at the Cheesecake Factory.
Oh, yeah. I didn't have to have a job during college because I would be there at, like in the summers and then on breaks. And I never had a job at school because it was able to sustain me to be able to take the money that I had from the summer, from any of the breaks that I was at home for, and then just go back to school and then focus on school. And I think at the same time, it really taught you, like, A, how to manage your money, but manage your time, like manage people. I think, when I got into like the career world, I mean, one of the first people that I worked with at LVMH at Fresh, my first like boss was like, I will always hire people who have retail or have like service experience because you know how to manage people and how to manage your time. And I'll never forget that, like knowing what's actually happening with customers or guests or what people are thinking or what they need is always so helpful when you're sitting in an office trying to be a consumer good, right? Like same thing with Nike, I'm sure, Ari. Like you need to know what people want and what they're shopping for and the economic state of being able to purchase the things that you're putting out. So it's, I think, really helped me throughout my career too, just remembering like what it's like to be on the floor serving people 4 or more tables. They've waited for 4 hours, right? And so
Wearing whites, right? What a time.
when they were
Yeah.
bartenders, they had black pants. I have an allergic reaction to wearing any kind of white pants now because of the Cheesecake Factory.
Man,
Look
oh
good in
man.
white. I feel like every white shirt I had, they were pen marks on them. And then the bleach just didn't work anymore. So I think those are long gone, thrown out. I
Yeah.
had some horrific ties. Those are never want to see those ever again. Actually, probably the pants too. I mean, those there's stains all over them, like absolutely horrific. And then the
Balsamic vinaigrette smells that you can't get
Oh
out.
oh,
gosh.
everything. I feel like I always went home with like whipped cream. I'm like just I
Yeah.
wasn't even in the bakery and I had like whipped cream on like all of my sleeves. So green ketchups.
Oh, was that the worst side work ever? Marrying ketchups or dressings? Which one was the worst one?
Dressing. I think
Dressing.
dressings.
Same.
Dressings for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Ketchups, you can kind of figure out how to do it without getting it all over you, but yeah, dressings.
I remember someone dropped at the very end of the evening when we were about to just like close everything up and we are going through our final check. Someone dropped the tub of balsamic on the ground and it went all over the place and splashed onto all the other dressings. And we were there
Oh
for like another hour cleaning that up. Ugh,
man, oh man.
nightmare.
That
Fallon.
cooler just got so nasty though. Like the dressings
Yeah,
cooler was always, that's why it was so bad. Like you start off just all over the place. Ugh.
terrible.
No, like I said, I literally have an allergic reaction to white pants. So like I still have my pins, I still have the West Nyack opening pin. I still have my D2C pin and they're like in my jewelry box because, it's still jewelry. It's still something that I hold dear to me.
I think I have
Yeah.
the apron. I think I have an
I
apron.
You know what? I do have a couple of
Yeah,
napkins actually, because I
same.
would just like
Napkins.
you have them in your back and you just pull them, go home with them. I definitely have napkins. They've made
Definitely
it.
have definitely have a checkbook.
Harry, who was your favorite manager back then? And favorite cheesecake you loved?
Ooh, favorite man. Listen, we were such a dysfunctional family. I think that we loved and hated each other at so many times. Like Jim was, I think when I was, because Paul was only there for a bit before he went to King of Prussia, I believe. And then we had Mike, we had Juan, we had
Andre,
Andre, Maribel was there at one
Bell,
point. Then Jim came and then we had Steve and then, everyone, butt heads with many people because it was stressful working there and you were, the customer was always right, even if they were saying horrific things to you. I will never forget. I was walking a guy and his family back. They waited for like 3 hours, so I get it. They were very upset. We took them to, I think, like 104. I'll never forget this because he was so upset, and he had 2 daughters with him, and he, like, came at me, and he's like, "You know, you're this place is absolutely terrible." He's like, "It's because of people like you who work here who don't have a college education." And I was like, "Excuse me? What?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I said something to him, and Jim overheard it, and Jim was so mad that I spoke back to him, and we got to a huge fight, and I think Jim kicked me out of the
Oh,
Cheesecake Factory. And then but later on, he called me and said that he was very upset, and then I was like, "Oh, so I'm not fired?" And he's like, "No, get your ass back in." So, I feel like those types of interactions happen quite often with management as well. I have a soft spot for so many people and everyone. It's like I don't have yeah, everyone has a very fun memory. Like Wysok, Eric, Spun.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, good memories all around. Everyone is
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. To be honest, I'm not a big cheesecake person, so I was
Okay.
the one that was like getting the like probably the strawberry shortcake.
Okay. Fallon's like, I hate those shortcakes. Oh my God, the biscuits and the ice cream.
The biscuits.
But I'll
I just never you
yeah.
know what I couldn't understand? Like, my brain couldn't wrap around. It was the same biscuits as the chicken and biscuits. So, like,
I
why would you wanna use that? Like, you have the great just I couldn't separate the 2, and, like, I'm also a chocolate lover, so I'm like, why would you get a non-chocolate dessert? Uh, but I'm with you, Ari, like, I'm not a huge cheesecake fan.
anything is
I was Linda's fudge cake, but, like, OG
Linda's
Linda's
fudge
fudge
cake.
cake.
Yes, so good. I feel like there was an Adams that we
Adam's
used to
peanut butter
order.
fudge cup ripple.
Yep.
Yeah. Very
Yes.
good. Very
Yes.
good.
And then we did the strawberry shortcake without the biscuits. I remember that one. And
Mhm.
then yeah, we were piling up those desserts.
That's
The
awesome.
chocolate chip cookie dough was my fave.
Fallon, what say you? Favorite manager back then?
I mean, that's like asking who's your favorite Yankee, right? Like,
Okay.
that's hard. But I mean, I think Ari said it best. Like, there were definitely I think every manager there was very special and I think looked out for their team. So like when I was in the bakery, Eric took care of me. Eric was from day one, Wysocki was like, whatever you need, however you need to do it, like we need to jump in. Mike Ricci, same thing. Jim, I mean, I would do anything for Jim. Jim knew that too. So like Jim is one of my favorite people, humans in general. He also took very good care of me. Like my mom had knee surgery and he would like let me take food home to like take care of her because obviously she wasn't like cooking and I'm here working. So he made sure that we as humans were taken care of also, which I really appreciated. And in turn, like I would do anything for him. I remember there was one time like I was working in the bakery. He was short somebody at the front desk. He said, "Can you go home, change into whatever black outfit that you have and come back and work?" And I'm like, give me 20 minutes to get home and change. And I didn't even think twice because I knew that if he needed me, like he wouldn't ask if he didn't actually need it. And then I know like if I needed something, I could go to him. But I mean, even like you said, the laundry list of managers that were there really cared about their staff. I mean, I'll never forget too. And back to I used to yell at a lot of managers. I I got into it with Mike Blue. They were they were cutting like the back room early. It was like you had to take your 15-minute break, which I thought was terrible. Uh, we are a little bit more lenient on that, I guess, in the first days, but that I was like, I'm not gonna clock out for 15 minutes to come back and do my side work when I can do that in 15 minutes and then leave. And then I don't want to stay here longer. And I remember like yelling at him, telling him, just because you don't know how to manage time doesn't mean that I should suffer. And I felt so bad after that. And I apologize. But it was like he was just trying to look out for the team and like the staff. And but he was also one who would do whatever you needed to do and run to a table, run food. Like I think it's also a lot of the managers who started out as staff too, because they knew what you were doing. Like, Ken, like you were on the
Yeah.
floor. You
Yeah.
know what staff is going through and what they need.
There are favorite moments attached to
Yeah.
every single manager. There's some funny
Yeah.
moments as well.
Yeah.
Remember when you had that table of like 20 people and they all wanted separate checks? Because
Oh,
I do.
Yeah, that was
it's just the
or
worst.
yes. Cheese mares, I'm glad to say I've graduated from having cheese mares. Yeah, I haven't had one in a decent amount of time, but I mean, yeah, the separate checks, obviously the Sunday the morning, the Sunday brunch
Brunch.
crew was always wild. And then I think we mentioned it earlier, like the people who used to stroll in at like midnight on a
Yeah.
Saturday night, and we weren't really able to kick people out. I remember I think I had a table once that sat there until past 3 a.m.
Wow.
and I think they left probably like 10% because I think they were sitting at 101 hidden the entire time. And finally, I think the cleaning crew came in and they were like, "Oh, you got to go." And they're like, "Oh, we didn't know it was so
Yeah.
late."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
always, I did drop a whole tray of drinks on a table because someone, a child decided to take
Like
the
reached over
glass,
and grabbed it. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the entire thing went tumbling, and it was Coca-Colas everywhere on the entire table. They were all drenched, and had to comp that entire meal. But that that was the
Man.
fun one.
Wow.
I s not too often, but every now and again, it'll remind me that that was my life, and so, yes, I do still have cheese mirrors. Um, I think that my, like, it wasn't the worst, but one that definitely stands out, it was, like, shift 13 out of 11 days. It was,
Yeah.
like, when we were banging out doubles, and I
Mm.
forgot to put in the table's appetizers, and it was, like, the app's favorites, so it's the one that took
Oh, it takes
20 minutes to cook.
forever.
Ev
Oh.
They still even have that, and, like, what who thought that that was Mr. David Overton? Why did you think that that it was like the
Yeah.
4 plate miserable, and I, like, literally had a panic attack, went into the freezer, and, like, was hysterical crying, and I think that was the first time, maybe the only time I ever actually cried at work. I was, like,
Man.
so overwhelmed. I felt so bad. They were so wonderful about it, though. They were like, "Don't worry about it." I think Jim was there at the time, and I was like, "This is just too much. It's too
Yeah.
much. I can't work this."
Ari, what kind of relationships and friendships did you develop working at CCF?
I mean, my favorites, I'll say, because I was working there during high school as well, so I feel like my last few years of high school, because I was spending so much time at the Cheesecake Factory, like the Cheesecake crew just like became my family. So again, like Fallon, Patrice, Erica, Taryn, Koch. I feel like that was the crew that we were hanging out with all the time and continue to. Again, I mean, there's so many others who have been a part of that family, and feel like I learned a lot about life working at the
Yeah.
Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah.
Going back to when I started, it was like Danielle, Robbie, Joanna, Whitey, the Fernandos.
Yeah.
You had Tavia, you had Pete behind the bar, and Marta. Like you just had like the crew who were just like teaching you about life as you went along, and I was just like blown
Yeah.
away by everybody. But no, Fallon and Patrice, and I continue, just the crew continue to see all the time. They're just family now, so I feel like I made lifelong family from my time at the Cheesecake Factory. Yeah,
Mhm.
so many. I mean, shout out to Dasha as well. I feel like I see Dasha.
How about you, Fallon? You feel the same way? Relationships you met, friendships you developed working at CCF?
Yeah, I mean, I say, like, my cheesecake friends were my life friends. It's people that you don't have to talk to every day, but, you think about all the time and, reach out and, every time I'm in Florida, I try to see Taryn. We've never made it happen yet, but just
Yeah.
making sure, like, we're talking to each other. Erica, I talked to, a couple weeks ago. Again, like, got married, had a baby. She's, like, living her best life in Georgia. Yeah, don't kill
Savannah?
me.
Yeah, Savannah.
Yes, Anna. Um, and I mean, and Laura, like, I mean, those her babies. Oh,
The best.
Yeah.
the
So
best. Beautiful, beautiful babies. So like watching my friends like grow and see their like have families and still being able to like know and connect with who they are. I mean, Patrice and I just talked the other day. Like Trace, I've known since I was 3 years old. Like we joke, we call ourselves our heterosexual life partners. When she got married, I said to her husband, I'm like, Kenny, I come with her. Like we're a package deal. And we have been since. Her entire family is my family. You talk about like people were there when you need you. Mary flew across the world when my mom died and like came to her memorial.
Yeah.
And like you can't see her. Here's where I start to cry. And
Yeah.
like Laura was there and like it's people who you don't have to talk to every day, but they're there for you when you need them, and that's who Erie is. And like Patrice obviously was there, and it's just really great to know that you have those people that you can rely on when you need them.
No, not speaking to you guys in 15 years plus, and it feels like yesterday. We just got off a shift and we're just chatting now at home.
Yeah.
It's just amazing camaraderie we've had, love, hate, whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, we still love each other.
Yeah.
Trip to Vegas, the Venetian.
Back that was trip of a lifetime. We I like we tried to we were like, "Erie, like,
No,
do
I
you wanna
tried.
come?
I
Come,
tried.
come."
I couldn't.
Um, I mean, Patrice and I have always been Backstreet Boys fans. I also did love NSYNC. She was BSB for life,
Yeah.
and we had seen them once before. We were supposed to see them, COVID hit, they rescheduled it. It was up in Connecticut, so we, like, spent a weekend there or a night over, and, like, it's just one of those things, like, Patrice and I spent our, like, childhood, like, dancing to all kinds of music, pretending to be TLC. I was always Left Eye, she'll tell you that, like, I always had to be, like, as a lefty, I felt like I had the right to be Left Eye,
Okay,
uh,
there you go.
but we would always have that, like, music was always part of things that we would do together and, like, things we always loved, and we are very different. Like, and she'll say that too. Like, she played sports. I didn't really play sports. I was the dancer. Like, she would love coming to my dance recitals. I would love going to, her softball games and basketball and watching her play. But we're also just different people in that sense. Um, but we always had that moment where we loved each other and like we're sisters, we're family, like we're there for each other. But I turned 40 and it was whatever it was, like 40's fine and great, and I, love being in my 40's now. I saw that they were playing at the Sphere, and I said, and she actually sent me a note. She's like, "We should go." I'm like, "No, we should go. We absolutely should go. I'm gonna get the tickets. We're gonna do this." She has two sons. She's got a lot of going on in her life. Like, she also needed this moment. I like got really excited. Got the ticket. I figured out like we did the after party. We like literally partied with I touched AJ McLean for the Backstreet Boys. It was ridiculous. I definitely was living my best life of like
Yeah,
Backstreet Boys movies, but I'm like, don't worry about anything. I'll just tell you the flight to get on. Like, I'll take care of like the planning and all of that. It was for her 40th birthday, a couple of months afterwards. When they say it's like a life changing moment to be at the Sphere watching the Backstreet Boys, it truly is. Like, it was incredible. And for me to be able to spend that with her after like what 37 whatever years of friendship, just living life but always being able to come back to each other and being there for each other when we needed to, it was such an incredible moment. And like we were literally back in like college, early 20s, having the time of our lives, staying out late at night, like going
yeah.
out, having fun, just screaming our heads off to Backstreet Boys songs. It was so much fun. There's not too many seats. It's not like an MSG or a giant uh, center where you have to like you are in the nosebleeds and you have to like watch the screen the whole time. The screen is a part of the show and it's super intimate too. Like, I mean, intimate, there's like 20,000 people still there, but like it's it's not like 100,000 at like MetLife or whatever that you
Right.
can't see anything. And the way that they like use the screen as part of the show, it's you like feel like you're in it. It's almost like it was almost a little distracting that you're like not watching them, you're just watching the whole thing. I mean, like listen, we're old, okay? So like it's
Yeah.
not like we were getting super crazy. Um I mean, if we want to talk about memories, Patrice's bachelorette party was probably a little bit crazier, but
Okay.
we I mean, I think seeing so many people it was actually the only time I wore white again because it's a thing to like wear white. We wore our matching top like Backstreet Boys head shirts, and but to see so many fans like in white at even at the after party like screaming their heads off for five guys from like 25 years ago. Not that that's like crazy, but I mean, I'm sure that there was a few like people on the street that were acting out. We tried to
Cake Factory holiday parties, right?
no, no, that nothing like being on top of the bar at the Hody pouring out shots to
Man,
people's
oh
mouths.
man, what a
The
time!
stuff
What
we
a
did,
time!
I don't know. There's definitely things that I'm like, I can't believe I did that.
There there's more than yeah, too many. I the
Yeah.
Too
five
many.
mind. Yeah.
Yeah, it started out as a business trip. I was working at Fresh, which is a skincare company owned by LVMH, and I was doing a lot of international work. So I was very fortunate to be able to go to that was like a big trip. It was Hong Kong, China, Seoul, and then I was like, well, I'm over here. It was around my birthday. I'm like, Aries out there, like even if I can get there for a couple of days. And so we made it work. And so I think I was probably away for almost 2 weeks total doing like a week and a half of like work. And then I went from Seoul to Tokyo. And I remember getting off the plane, getting to Erie, literally dropping my bag and then not sleeping for the next 24 hours. And it was crazy. I literally dropped my suitcase off. We went to Tokyo Tower, which was like amazing. She showed me all the sights. We ate a lot. We went to, I mean, you're going to have to remind me of where we went because we were in Shinjuku, right?
Yeah.
I just remember we somehow ended up, I bit into a fisheye. Remember that?
Yes.
And then, yeah, she was like, we're going to a rave. I got tickets and a pizza hazard.
I I will say when I moved to Japan, the first few yeah, no, I was working a lot. I was working a little bit
Long
too
hours
much,
too.
very long hours. Like when they say advertising culture in Japan is crazy, I was sleeping like maybe 1 or 2 hours a night. There were days where it was like 7 days a week. I was on so many business trips to like Singapore and then California. But then, yeah, I was able to meet up with Fallon in Hong Kong, and then later she came to Tokyo, so that was awesome. But I partied. I mean, Tokyo. There's endless things to do here.
Yeah.
It's a really fun, it's a very special city. It's also really safe. You meet a lot of people and you could do whatever you want. So I did party quite a bit when I got the opportunity to. So, yeah.
It was wild thinking about like that we were at a rave, but we just like found a room and just danced the whole night. And it was just so much fun. And I didn't care. It was just the two of us. Like she said, it was super safe. Like never once did I feel like, should we not be doing this or
Right.
where am I? It was just kind of like looking back. I'm like, how did I stay up that long? And like, how did like we just end up here? But it was like one of
Yeah.
those experiences that
Once
you
in a
never know what's
lifetime.
going to happen, and then you just are just so appreciative that it did happen. I think bakery probably.
Okay.
I mean, like the specifics of it, like are there
Yeah.
still 6 chocolate chips on a chocolate chip cookie dough? We don't know. But, like I'd probably figure out. I feel like it probably is like riding a bike. Like it's the specifics of it, but the knowing like the time management, getting like the drinks out first, and making sure that you know everything's coming out in time. Sure. What those dishes actually are, probably have no idea.
Yeah. So even after the Cheesecake Factory, before I came to Japan, I always had two jobs. So I was at the Cheesecake Factory on and off for 3.5 years, I think. I remember I quit Cheesecake Factory because I was moving to Japan my first time in 2007.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So then when I came back from Japan, I started working in Piermont for a French restaurant, a bistro, and then someone from the Sidewalk Bistro opened up their own kind of bar, smokehouse in Pearl River. So I was bartending, I was serving there, and I was also greeting. So I feel like up until maybe, I guess that was still like 10 years ago, but I feel like I could do it. Like Fallon
Okay.
said, I don't think I could nail the menu or just the nuances of the details,
Yeah.
but I don't
Yeah.
know. What's the staff like today? Like, who knows? Maybe
That's for conversation for another day. No one wants to work right now.
say
So
who it is, but I remember someone popped me an Adderall. Like I've never taken Adderall my entire life, and I was
right.
on like maybe 4 back-to-back doubles. I think it was like at that time it was crazy during menu rollout or something, and someone just popped an Adderall in my mouth, and I went wild, and I made so much money. But it was like, how much, how much can you do? And I think I remember I had like one of those secret choppers at my table,
Oh
like really paranoid, and I was on Adderall. Never do that ever
boy,
again. But yeah,
never
the
again.
se-
You left in '07.
I moved to yeah, it was. I was having a hard time at my university in Canada, and I decided I wanted
Okay.
to do a study abroad. So I ended up just taking a year off from school because I was going to graduate a little bit earlier. So I figured, why not take this time? And I moved to Japan. And then when I came back from Japan, I feel like Cheesecake Factory was in a completely different stage in like 2000,
Okay.
like end of 2008, 2009. I feel like
Right.
the crew that I was there with just wasn't there. I know Fallon
Right.
was picking up a couple shifts here and there. So
Exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
I was there only on Saturdays for I think because I started working in 2006. Yeah, like September of 2006, and I still worked on the weekends there. And then yeah, I would start to like every other Saturday
Okay.
because it got to be too much of like commuting into Manhattan and then having to like get up on the Saturday and then that sounds so spoiled, but like it started to get to be a lot, and then it wasn't like the shifts weren't really just convenient. I wanted to like have my Saturday nights still available to me and like it yeah. But you're right, like it was a different crew. I mean, they were great people too, but I think that's where I mean, I was called a liar and a thief, and that's when I was like, this is when I gotta go. Oh, I wish because I was shift leading. I won't say who called me a liar and a thief, but I remember quite vividly. And I was like, I don't need this, you know? Like, you don't need
Yeah.
it was more frustrating and exhausting than it was worth the money that was being made at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it was time. Again, like I was only working 1 day a week. I was shift leading. It was getting a little bit frustrating. It was different. It wasn't the same crew. And again, like nothing wrong with that crew. That's where like, the Joes of the world came in and um they were just younger and like I was in a different stage of my life. I was working full time. Like it wasn't the same purpose for me anymore. Um, but I still like cared about what I was doing. Like I think we took everything I remember Cheesecake Factory was the only thing on my resume, and I had to make it sound like I was doing the things. And so I'm like, oh, I'm doing accounting, right? I'm
Yeah.
time management. I'm like, like kind of human resources, but also like public relations because you have to sell. Like we had to sell the cheesecake. We had to sell people on dessert that maybe didn't want it. That was my path. And I think people looked at it a little bit differently than like the people who that was their career. Like it's your career. Like it's a great job. Like it's got great benefits. It's a great place to be lifetime. I just don't think that there's a lot of people who look at it that way and maybe respect it in that way anymore. So I knew it was time. I was like, this isn't the type of, you know, space right now where I want to be and I need to be for myself and my well-being. So it was like bittersweet because that was a place where I learned how to be an adult, truthfully. Never had a job before. That was it.
Yeah.
How lucky are
Yeah.
we to like say that all the experiences that we had are from that one, store.
What say you, Ari? Your last day. You knew it was your last day. Remember that time of your life?
Yeah, I remember it quite well because it was actually quite emotional because I was leaving for Japan literally the next day. So,
Wow.
or 2 days later, I was packing up and I was moving my life to Japan. And at that point, when you're what, like 19 or 20, you feel like the whole world is changing.
Yeah.
But no, a bunch of people came out to, I believe there was a goodbye party at Bruxelles. And so it was really nice to see it. Lots of tears, lots of
Yeah.
tears, lots of bad drinks. But no, it was a nice farewell, and we had a really decent crew at that, like the first couple of years. At least when I was there, I felt really lucky with the people that we worked with because everyone was just like legends. There were aces. There were so many funny characters.
Yeah.
So no, a bunch of people I got to say goodbye to, and I also felt like that was like the closing of a chapter. So it felt good not returning. Yeah, Cheesecake gave me a lot of just skills, and then I going to a smaller bistro. It just felt the better way. No more cheese mares because at that point it was
Yeah.
like we were just dreaming
Yeah.
about cheesecake all the time.
Yeah.
Just delirious.
Really.
So here we are.
You guys are both Yankee fans. How did you become a Yankee fan, Fallon?
Yeah, I think I was always a Yankees fan. Both my parents were from the Bronx. Not, they'll never let you forget that.
Yeah.
And I think that that was just like ingrained in us. You know, my aunt would always talk about how, you know, she would go to Yankee games. And so I think it was just like in my blood, to be honest with you. I remember when I was going to summer camp, day camp at the park, shout out, we would start to do like day trips, and one of them was to Yankee Stadium. And I just remember falling in love with the game again. And like, I remember following me on the outfield, and like we were sitting right near. I'm like, yeah, this is my team. This is what I want to go do. I think between them, that and like before we started really going, I hadn't been to that many games. And then I'll never forget when Jimmy Styles asked me one day if I wanted to go. And I think that was like the beginning of the end of like every Friday. Sorry, can't work on. It's kind of always been in my blood.
Yeah.
Honestly, probably because we started going to the game so often. I mean, this is a shallow reason for me, but a lot of Japanese players started coming to play in the major leagues, and there were quite a few legends who were on the Yankees as well. So
Matsui
I feel like that
Tanaka.
was
Yeah. Yeah.
there we go. And then Ichiro at
Yeah.
one point was there. I feel like that was my way in as half Asian, rooting on those Japanese players. But no, I feel like Jimmy and Fallon would invite me all the time because they had so many extra tickets too. So it was just like a fun summer Friday activity to just be up there watching the game. And I mean, the old stadium was incredible. I mean, I miss that place. The new stadium, I don't know what I haven't been there in forever, but I have really great memories of just all of us tailgating too in the Bronx and watching the game, and then the
Yeah.
Ford Mustang on the way home, and we're all squeezed in there.
Like
Yeah.
sardines.
But no, so many people, like, you would run into so
Yeah,
many cheesecake folks also who are going to the same game, and we'd all meet up at the bar
for
across the
sure.
street. So it was good times all around.
I mean, that's hard, right? Like, there's so much history in old Yankee Stadium, but I feel like they're working on all that, all that history in the new Yankee Stadium. I think from, personally in like this universe, probably, oh, that's hard too, because we had a lot of games at old Yankee Stadium, second to last row, all the way up
Yeah.
at the top,
Yeah.
you know. I think towards, when we went into the new stadium, well, I'll tell you, like Jimmy Styles and I went to the first exhibition game against the Cubs in New Yankee Stadium when like
Wow.
the tickets were like pricing from like the 60s or the 70s, whenever the first Yankee Stadium opened. And we sat like 2 rows behind home plate, which like $1 million to do that now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was just such an experience. And, the energy of that stadium now is, I think, a lot different from when it first opened. So I feel like, I mean, I had a lot of great memories in the old, but I also had a lot of great memories in the new, and like got to bring my husband to Yankee Stadium for the first time. Like, now he's a Yankees fan. My parents would go, so we would go every Friday, and like being able to have those memories with my parents too has been really great. So I think
Yeah.
from a memories perspective, probably new, but that's a hard because there's been so many great personal memories and then great like New York
Right.
memories at each thing. It was like 2015, 16, somewhere around there. And it was, born in Boston, raised in New York. And so there was a Red Sox Yankees game that
Yeah.
I coordinated through like our Yankee like rep. Shout out to our Yankee rep. I don't remember what his name was, but he was fantastic. And I was like, let's get like a bunch of tickets. We sat right in front of judges' chambers and like
Wow.
holding up signs, and like it was just such a great time, even to bring like my personal experience from having season tickets at Yankee Stadium to like my work
Yeah.
space. So that was a lot of fun too. Like I'm like all in.
Who's some of your all-time favorite Yankees?
Top 5. Okay, well, like Derek Jeter, obviously. But like, so we're talking all time? I mean, I gotta put Roger Maris in there just because you
Okay.
gotta.
Home run
Um,
record. Yeah.
yeah. Mark Teixeira also up in there. I know.
Tex Mix.
Um, Tino, gotta love my Tino. I
Tito.
remember when he was at Tampa Bay, we were at a game. I think we were there. Was that the time that I was wearing my Tony Clark shirt? Remember my Tony Tino made it to first, and we were on the first base side, and I was like, two
Yeah.
of my favorite first basemen are now. But
Yeah.
yeah, Tino. I mean, there's so many greats, and they're like from all the different eras. So it's kind of like that's
It's
who
hard.
all time versus current, But you
No
gotta give
love.
it to
No love for A-Rod, Mariano.
I.
Well,
I
Mariano
mean, Mo for sure, Mo. I think that's like the shirt I wear. So like I wear a lot of Yankees gear down here, and Astros fans.
Yeah.
Um, but my go-to shirt if I'm going to a Yankees Astros game is American. I did love A-Rod. There was that time when I was a huge A-Rod fan, and he
What a time.
disappointed us, but I feel like he kind of like recognized what he did, and he went on his apology tour, and I'll give that to him. Like, he acknowledged that he did not do great things and that he could have done better during his time in New York. So, but yeah, I mean, but the guys now, like, I mean, everybody on that team now, gosh, it's just so fun to watch them play.
I mean, I was always a plus one to the fandom of the Yankees, so I'm not that versed. I just, to be quite honest, I haven't even watched. Now I'm just watching, well, the Dodgers so much. I know, sorry. We have a lot of Nike players.
Boo.
I have a lot of.
Boo.
I've had to work with I got the opportunity last year when the MLB, the opening series was in Tokyo. I got to work
Yeah.
on that, to work with some Cubs athletes and also some the Dodgers team. So I've been a little bit closer to them now. But no, I mean, I think when we were going to the stadium, of course, I mean, Jeter was the fact that we got to see him play. That was insane. His last game as well. A-Rod was fun for the team. That's you had Jorge, you had Mo, you kind of like named everybody that just like comes to mind again. I was always a Matsui fan, just to and what
Nick
a good.
Swisher
Sure.
was a lot of fun,
Oh
actually.
yes,
Nick Swisher.
That is for
Jesus.
Ellsbury. Remember when we signed him?
Jacoby Ellsbury. Yeah. Remember him? Yeah.
Those eyebrows, man. And then he
Uh,
Oh, Brett, remember, were you? Oh, you know what? I was there with my mom when Brett Gardner hit the inside the park home run.
home run.
And
Oh,
I was there. I was also there for a
pandemonium.
triple plays. That's where, like, yeah, that new stadium, man.
that's a great looking team.
It was. We were there for some really great moments. I was there. I know, obviously, Styles was there. Maybe Jared. I don't remember, Ken, if you were there
Yeah.
when we were playing the Mets, and oh, what's his name? Dropped the pop fly. A-Rod hit the pop.
He dropped it, and then I remember that.
Wild. That
We got so spoiled. We got so used to winning. Now nothing in 16 years.
I mean, we say, maybe this year. I thought, last year, but then we kind of fell apart. It's really, that's kind of one of the things I love about baseball is it really doesn't matter until you get to October. Like, it's one good game, one bad game can really determine what the outcome's going to be. So I would say, well, maybe this year. My mom would always say she wanted, them to win 162 games. I was like a little realistic than that. It's like, if they're not winning, we're not happy. So
Yeah.
I get to text, and that's where, like, I get to text my aunt every now and again. She's 88, I think, something like
Wow.
that. But she'll text me and be like, "These guys are killing me. They're gonna give me a heart attack. This is just it's disgusting. It's how they're playing." So it's a lot of
Yeah.
fun for me personally because I have so much ties to it. My family gets really excited about it.
I think the Dodgers are winning
Maybe
now
you start
recently.
watching them, Mary. Maybe you'll be the good luck. Watching some Mary.
That's true. I'll get my husband to start watching. We were watching last year, until, like you said, they kind of fell apart, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be the year it's back. And then
Yeah.
maybe I just need to move back to New York. I feel like when I moved back to New York in 2009, they won, and I was
Yeah.
there at the parade. I guess, yeah, maybe I need to return to New York. Maybe I need.
Right.
I remember my dad let me skip school.
Oh, there you go.
And
Bear.
I have two. So Bear is not my dog, but he may. I mean, truthfully, like I had a dog growing up. I actually kind of had two dogs. My cousin's dog was like we had adopted while she was, I think, in college. I was young. I don't remember exactly what happened, but Wooly was my first dog. She was adorable. I loved her. And then I think in like middle school at time frame, we got Chloe, and we had Chloe for 17 years. She was such a good girl. I loved her so much.
Nice.
She was the best, right? Oh, sweet girl. I moved to Houston the first time by myself. I moved here for a job and I didn't know anybody. And there was one time, like, I literally didn't even unlock my apartment door to go out the entire weekend. So I was only going to work and coming home. I'm like, this is not healthy. She had a dog, Bear, who's a black golden doodle. And we had like a little dog run attached to our building. So I would go down with her, like get some fresh air, play with the dog, and just like loved him so much. And he truthfully loves me so much. When thinking about getting a pet, I love dogs. I love cats. I've always had cats all my life too. But it's like if I get a dog, I feel like I would be more social. I would be forced to come out of the apartment even just to walk the dog. I could go to the dog park. I picked up the love of my life, my scout, who actually is, if you can kind of see him right there.
He's knocked out. Look at him. He's knocked
He's
out.
knocked out, knocked out. His best life over there.
It's amazing.
Was like, how do I bring him home? Lauren looked at me and was like, I'm the worst person to ask this question for because I think you should take him right now. We literally like signed the adoption papers, took him in her car, went straight to PetSmart, bought him a bed and like everything I needed. And yeah, he's been my little travel buddy ever since. Jasper, who is our other dog, he was a puppy. He is a almost 200-pound Anatolian Shepherd. So he's my big boy. And we say like Jasper chose me. Jasper would try to come home with me
Wow.
every day after the dog park. So, you know, he's the one who chose me to be Peyton's partner. And they are living their best lives and bring us so much joy. All dogs are emotional support animals, I think, because
Big into pets, dog, cats, anything at all throughout your years?
Always had dogs. I'm a dog person. I adopted a dog similar. I was walking after brunch. I found this shelter that was putting dogs up for adoption, and I walked in and Chihuahua, like Jack Russell Terrier mix, like jumped on my lap, and then I took him home that day. And but he's still in New York with my family. He's like blind and deaf now.
yeah,
My Leo. I had my dog Conan before that, who was a beauty as well. And then I'm in Japan and I'm like, do I get one? Once you live abroad, so not yet, but I definitely want an emotional support buddy. I want a new, furry friend in the future, Rach.
it definitely helps you realize what your priorities are. Because I'm like, I mean, Scout was diagnosed with diabetes. 6 months later, he went blind, and we did double cataract surgery. And it was, I mean, this dog has had more eye drops in 6 months, a year than I think I've had my entire life. But I think, Ari, you're right. Like, you need to be able to make sure you have the right people to take care of them out
Support
there.
system.
So it's definitely nice to have your tribe that is gonna help with those things too,
For
because
sure.
I don't know, we could have done all the things if we were doing it on our own.
That's true. Very true. Aries, so I was wondering, they look great. You and your hubby look great. Didn't know you guys were married. Like, how did that come about? When did you guys meet? How'd you meet? When did you know he was the right one for you?
Fallon also had a COVID love story. I think originally I was planning to go back to the US after the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. And so I really wasn't looking to kind of find anyone. I had just gotten out of a very, very long-term relationship at that point. But then once the world shut down and it was like, okay, what do you do? I remember I was sitting in my old apartment and just thinking to myself, I'm now in Japan. I feel home here, but at the same time, when you're completely isolated from everyone and you're just like all this time to yourself, sitting in an apartment and I was all by myself, I really thought, I'm ready for a relationship. I just feel like life is better when there's someone with you. And so
Yeah.
I took a trip down to one of the islands here, Okinawa Island, and I was having this conversation about just relationships and where I see myself next. And they signed me up for an app. I never thought I'd be using a dating app. I went on Tinder in Japan and I swiped, and then I found this, lovely human being who is now my husband. I met him and we hit it off pretty much immediately. By date two, we were living together and it's been wonderful. And we got married 4 years ago. So Tinder, I mean, who would have thought? But I guess I was one of the lucky ones who found someone. So all worked out
Amazing.
in the end.
Yeah, I'm happy for
Mm,
you guys both, for
Thank
sure.
you. He's a good guy.
Um, Fallon, living in Houston from Hoboken to Houston, and where you're
Yeah.
at now.
I mean, big difference, monetarily big difference. You definitely get more space for your money down here. So even when I first moved down here back in like 2018 and was in an apartment, my apartment was bigger than the apartment I was in Hoboken the first time, even for less than what I was spending for half an apartment. I had a roommate the first time I was in Hoboken. You need a car here. You need to drive everywhere. Traffic is insane all the time. Public transportation isn't really as great as it is in New York. You can't just hop on a metro here or a bus here. Um, Things are so spread out. I mean, we're in a four-bedroom house, still spending less than we were for rent in 800 square feet. So yeah, it's definitely, quality of life in terms of my husband and I are both remote. So this is my office. He has an office upstairs. The thing that you kind of don't get is backyard, at least in the
Space.
loop. But yeah, but it's so hot. Sometimes you just don't need to be outside like that. So it's really just where you're willing to live and where you want to be, like in the center of it. But food here is so fantastic. There's great food of all kinds here. So we're not lacking in that department.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere. Stick around for Mic'd Up Moments. I'm Kenford, Erie, Fallon. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk about Fallon's mom. We'll talk about living in Japan, and we'll talk about kidney dialysis. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.